What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. The new leader in the House of Commons and Brexiteer Jacob Rees-Mogg appeared on BBC News this morning to defend Boris Johnson, the Queen and of course Brexit, because as you all know, the Remoaners have reached peak outrage in the last 36 hours or so in response to Boris Johnson suspending Parliament for a Queen's speech. Mr Rees-Mogg shuts down Remoaner claims MPs won't have time to debate Brexit. He also destroys the stupid petition put up by Remainers and House Speaker John Bercow, who as the Speaker of the House is meant to keep his mouth shut unless Parliament has instructed him to speak. Let's check it out.
There will be the debate on the Queen's speech, which is usually a 4 or 5 day debate, and during that time people are free to raise any subject that they like, so people could devote all of that to talking about leaving the European Union, but there will also be the European Council and time to debate any decisions that come from that Council, and certainly if there is an agreement there will be 13 days in which to debate implementing that in UK law. So there's a great deal of time to discuss European matters if that is what Parliament wishes to do.
You'll be very aware already that what people are accusing this government of is narrowing the window, that it's a cynical ploy to stop MPs being able to debate what is a crucial issue.
I think people who are saying that are crying constitutional wolf. You must remember that the shadow leader of the House of Commons, Valerie Vaz and Chris Bryant, both distinguished parliamentarians, kept on saying, when are we going to have a new session of Parliament? And we are now having a new session of Parliament, which gives them back opposition days and resets the parliamentary timetable, so it has benefits for the opposition as well.
It's undeniable that one of the results of what you're doing is there is less time to debate Brexit. That is a fact.
Well, not necessarily, actually, because the time available to debate Brexit hadn't been set. So next week back, there wasn't going to be specific debates on Brexit. This allows, with the day's debate on the Queen's speech, to have specific time allocated where people will be able to discuss Brexit. And bear in mind, we were about to go into the conference recesses, so Parliament wasn't going to be sitting for most of this time anyway.
Well, Jacob wastes no time in shutting down the nonsense claims by Remoaner MPs that Boris Johnson has prevented them from being able to debate Brexit. If Boris wanted to stop them debating Brexit, he could have prorogued Parliament until November the 1st, which in my opinion he should have done. These MPs have betrayed the will of the people for 3 years now. They have had their say, now it's time for action. Article 50 is law, it states that we leave, they should respect the law they voted for. What Boris has done is suspend Parliament for the party conferences and EU conference, while allowing enough time for MPs to debate Brexit. To be honest, they should be happy about this. The Queen's speech gives them 5 days to debate, as you heard Moggy say. Of course, none of the Remain MPs have pointed this out. They just want to make out Boris man bad, calling him a tin pot dictator who has to ask the monarch to do something. So yeah, Boris sounds just like Idi Amin to me, I guess. Jacob goes on to point out these Remoaners are crying constitutional wolf because Labour MPs have been requesting a new session of Parliament for a while now. When the government prorogues Parliament to give them that, they all cry out in despair. It's really quite pathetic. Well done, Mogg, for putting them right though. MPs only get 4 days off. It's not like Boris has stopped them entering Parliament for 2 months. It's literally fake outrage, just like the fake news the Remoaners live on.
Address, if you would, Speaker of the House of Commons. His quote is, "This is a constitutional outrage to stop debating Brexit."
There is a constitutional problem with what Mr Speaker said. Speaker Leventhal said that he had not eyes to see nor tongue to speak unless directed by the House. It is not constitutional for the Speaker to express his opinion without direction of the House. He has had no such direction, and therefore his comments are in a private capacity. They cannot be as Mr Speaker.
So, I mean, what are you going to do about that? You're saying he wasn't allowed to say what he said?
Mr Speaker has not eyes to see nor tongue to speak unless directed by the House. What he said from holiday yesterday was not directed by the House.
So we get to the shitweasel John Bercow, and the bullshit he came out with in response to Boris telling him to hold his beer, because I'm sure you'll all remember him saying he won't allow Parliament to be prorogued. Well, guess what, fuckpig? There's nothing you can do. The PM has the executive power to prorogue Parliament. That is given to him by Her Majesty the Queen. EU collaborators don't get a say in that shit. Moggy points out John Bercow is not entitled to give his opinion as the Speaker of the House, since his job is based around only speaking when Parliament instructs him to, outing him as a biased little prick once more, like we didn't know that already though. He should be ousted from his post for this in my opinion. How he can be allowed to do such a thing is astonishing. Mogg even quotes a previous Speaker of the House who actually understood the position he was in, and obviously was not a traitor to democracy like Bercow is. He quotes, "The Speaker does not have a mouth to speak unless Parliament instructs him to," which it did not, as he was sunning it up on his holiday while taking sides in a political debate which he has no right to do. These Remoaners run around claiming Boris Johnson is destroying democracy and how suspending Parliament is a constitutional outrage, when the only constitutional outrage really going on is the undemocratic traitors and collaborators like Bercow screaming from the rooftops because they lost. Hopefully there is something that can be done about Bercow. Mogg didn't say it, but it sounds like there could be some blowback from this. So let's hope so.
Nicola Sturgeon has said this is a dark day for democracy. I mean, there is a clear pattern. Okay.
Nicola Sturgeon would, wouldn't she? Nicola Sturgeon is the leader of a separatist movement within this country who wants to break up the United Kingdom. You would expect her, if the government had said we would celebrate Christmas Day on the 25th of December, Nicola Sturgeon would have been in a state of outrage.
Well, okay,
that's her default position.
I love how the BBC tried to use the words of Nicola Fishlip Sturgeon to back up their fake outrage about Boris Johnson proroguing Parliament. Like that shit was ever going to fly with Mr Rees-Mogg. Jacob was waiting for this BBC tosspot to quote this undemocratic Remoaner Sturgeon, who has spent the last 5 years ignoring the democratic decision made in Scotland that told old fish lips they would rather be in the UK than governed by her and imbeciles like Ian Blackford. Now, before Brexit, the BBC would be giving the SNP a hard time, because, like Jacob said, they want to break up the union, that the BBC normally try to defend. It's amazing how flimsy the BBC's positions are on things when it comes to Brexit. His Christmas analogy about her being outraged was amazing though. I think right now if Boris Johnson offered her Scottish independence, personally, I think she would find some way to be outraged by that. She is like an SJW, perpetually outraged for everything and nothing.
You can take that position in relation to one politician saying that, but a lot of people, and there's 1 million people who've signed a form in our petition suggesting that this should not happen. A lot of people are saying there's a principle here. There is a clear principle, which is MPs should be given time to debate. And if we're at a time of crisis, whichever way you sit on this, you should be given more time. Your government should not be taking away time at this moment.
Well, first of all, 17.4 million people voted to leave the European Union. And Dicey, the great constitutional theorist who sets out the basis of parliamentary sovereignty, said that the point of our conventions was that Parliament and the Cabinet could follow the will of the nation. And that is what Parliament and the Cabinet are doing. So this is completely constitutional and proper. There is going to be lots of time to debate before the 31st of October. Parliament will be sitting then and will be able to have whatever motions it wants. I think the outrage is phony. And it is created by people who don't want us to leave the European Union and are trying very hard to overturn the referendum result and don't want the benefits of leaving the European Union, including cheaper food, clothing and footwear, which we will get when we are free to set our own economic policies.
So, when the BBC fail with the Remoaner MP quotes, they move on to this worthless petition wanting to stop Boris Johnson suspending Parliament, which is a bit late and was pointless from the start. It was not a request. It was the Prime Minister's executive decision. It's essentially an order. The Queen granted it as we all knew she would. I'm really not sure what the BBC hoped to gain by even discussing it. Dominic Cummings is likely wiping his ass with that petition right now. And let's not forget, we have people on Twitter admitting to signing this petition 50 times. So how many of these Twitter activists have signed it multiple times, I wonder? Right now, they will do anything to stop Brexit. This is just another desperate ploy. The last month has been the calm before the storm. It's probably going to get a bit exciting now. But realistically, the BBC's claim 1 million people have signed it is completely wrong. I expect it's well below that number. Moggy rightly points out that 17.4 million people voted to leave the EU and expect it to happen after 3 years, so the petition means less than fuck all. Well, he didn't say that, but he might as well have. People are sick of the bullshit and just want Brexit done now. The rabid few on Twitter are not the majority at the end of the day. Jacob Rees-Mogg is too clever for these idiotic BBC hosts though. That's why he only ever gets short TV interviews, because he will rubbish their bullshit narrative with ease. So they have to move on as they can't let their viewers see through their bullshit. Mogg once again points out the same shit we all know. The outrage is fake because what Boris Johnson has done is normal procedure, when scheduling a Queen's speech. And let's not forget, the people these mainstream media shitweasels are quoting here are undemocratic and traitorous idiots like John Bercow, who has no right to speak on the matter anyway, or Nicola Sturgeon, who wants to destroy the Union. Mogg actually chuckled when he quoted the SNP spunk trumpet. I am shocked though that the BBC didn't quote Toe Swinson or Anna Soubry along with these idiots. I guess they knew it was a waste of time and they should just get a Remoaner on to back up their anti-Brexit propaganda because Rees-Mogg is too intelligent. Well, I'm going to end the video there. I just want to thank the channel's PayPal, Patreon and Subscribestar members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my video. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Leave a like, subscribe and share this video as it helps the channel a lot, and I will see you all in the next one.